Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Night Talks Podcast. And today we are doing the presser review show for the game. Ahead of the game between Bournemouth and Manchester United, and it's happening on Friday. So basically, as at the time of recording, 2 days from now, but by the time you're watching it, probably going to be the next day, which is Friday. But yeah, press conference is coming before the match preview, but the match preview is already ready. Just to put it out there. But let's do the review. Michael Carrick has said that he would love to see Manchester United captain Bruno Fernandes take the PFA Player of the Year award due to his performances this season, right? Now, the head coach was actually talking in his pre-match press conference, which came pretty early today, Wednesday, ahead of our trip to Bournemouth, a team that he expects to put up a tough fight due to their current 10-game unbeaten run. And it's really interesting because they have the longest unbeaten run, I think, this season so far. It's our last game before the international break, which gives us another 2 weeks before we come back in April to play again. This is also followed by an Emirates FA Cup weekend this weekend. Emirates FA Cup final, I think. Emirates FA Cup weekend after the international break, I think, which sees us without a game for 24 days. We are going to be without a game for 24 days. And the manager also discussed how he's planning to approach the extended break. The longest we've been without a game is 14. We've had 10 more days. Oh, this is interesting. What a season we've had so far. But yeah, let's keep it going. The first one is team news, right? And you know why, before we get to this, you know why I do all of this, like presser reviews and stuff. Why I do presser reviews is to basically get a sense of what is going on at the club, from the manager to like the first team and stuff like that. So can we start with the first team news? That's the question that was asked. Matthijs de Ligt, how's his rehab going? And the response Michael Carrick gave was similar, really. Frustrating for Mata. He's obviously trying to work to get back, but it's just the back issue, really, that is proving difficult. We'll keep working as hard as we can to get him back as quick as we can. So we still got that back injury, right? And then the follow-up question was similar for Lisandro Martinez, and he says yes, he's closer, a lot closer. Excuse me. He says yes, he's closer, a lot closer. He's getting there. So after this one, I think he'll be all right. So after the Bournemouth game, and then there'll be 24 days. So he's going to be back. And then Dorgu as well. And Patrick Chinezekwe Dorgu, and the question and the response, Michael Carrick, was like a bit further down the line. So then he says, then the person followed up again. I'm told that there's no Nuzai Majraoui in training. Is he okay? Yeah, he's just ill. I mean, Majraoui is fasting, so he probably would be ending the fast on Thursday, right? So he's just ill. He just wasn't feeling too good today, so he's fasting. That's pretty much what it is. Then the next question was, and Mason Mount was back on the bench, didn't come on. Is he close to being up for starting, or is he already up for starting fitness wise? And the question is, starting would be too much, I think, at this point. That's the response from Michael Carrick, just for the training time and exposure he's had, really. But it's brilliant to have him back. He's a fantastic player, Mason, and great to have around the group again. So I'm delighted to have him back, and obviously the break coming up now gives him a chance to get even more up to speed. So in some ways, that's come at a good time for him. So yeah, that is pretty much what it is with regards to the injury front. So the questions have been going pretty great so far. The next question was, can I ask about Bournemouth this Friday? They seem to be the draw specialists at the moment. That's facts, man. That's facts. That's absolutely facts, man. Bournemouth, man, draw. So what are you expecting from them on Friday? So yeah, I think it's a tough game. It's a tough place to go. They are on a really good run of form. So yeah, a difficult game. You know, we are obviously going down there. We've had a good run and the boys are in good shape. But yeah, always a difficult game. Always has been and probably always will be. So we know that they are a really good team, really well coached, and good energy. So we know we're being in for a game down there on Friday. So yeah, it's a late night game, first game of the weekend. Everybody's going to be watching. Those the hate watchers and hate watchers are going to be watching. So yeah, that's a good question and a good response from Michael Carrick. It's going to be a tough game. We expect them to be tough and give us a hard one. And then obviously next question was, I know we've asked you a lot. Yeah, so I think we've gone through a dry spell with regards to no questions around Kobbie Mainoo, and then boom, it pops up again. I know we've asked you a lot about Kobbie Mainoo since you've arrived. I just wonder, since you've been back at the club, what you've made of his actual performances. So his performances before now, the questions you've been asking him, have they not been actual? But yeah, this is the first time in a while. So the question was now, and what areas do you see still as a young player that he can improve on? Oh man, I know where this is headed. It is what it is. Anyway, I know Michael Carrick is going to give an obvious answer, and I back him to do that. He says, of course, you can always improve on a lot of things. That's so obvious, bro. Just the age he's at. Just for starters, you know, there's so much more to come and develop, and then that's just natural. Exactly. He's had a good game anyway, the last game. That's not a negative on Kobbie by any stretch. That's just the stage that he's in his career, that he's at in his career. So hopefully he has got a lot of layers to improve on and keep developing on that. I think he's done really well. I think, you know, not having a lot of football for a period of time to come in and to play a run of games and find your rhythm, I think he did that really quickly, and there is a natural kind of flow really. And I thought he was really good again on the weekend and putting in a performance where he did a little bit of everything. So really, and controlled the game in spells, defended well when he had to defend, and really impressed with him. So basically, he's not had good games within this spell of games, like in 3 or 4 games. I said it and people were triggered, but then that's the truth. And then he had a really good game, and you can tell the difference between what we expected to see versus what we actually saw in those games preceding the Aston Villa game. Now, last week they asked about Harry Maguire. This week they continue to ask about Harry Maguire. So let's keep it going. So, we asked you about Harry Maguire last week, and you said you hoped he could get a call up for England. With the announcement on Friday, I just wondered about Kobbie Mainoo also, and also Luke Shaw. Yeah. Do you hope that they can get themselves back in the England picture? Have you been in touch with Thomas Tuchel? How will he be in touch with Thomas Tuchel? What is the plan? Why? This is not a good question. Maybe the follow-up questions are not good. Yeah, what I thought about Harry Maguire making the England squad, that's fine. What I thought about Kobbie Mainoo making the England squad, that's fine. What I thought about Luke Shaw making the England squad, that's fine. But have you been in touch with Thomas Tuchel? Are you serious? Well, it is what it is. These guys, they seem to ask. So, yeah, this is going towards a proper 5 out of 10 presser already. They went on a good spell of asking good questions up until they got to World Cup. So, England squad. So first question, second question, third question, fourth question, the fifth question. Like the one that threw me off is, have you been in touch with Thomas Tuchel? Why should he be in touch with Thomas Tuchel? For what? What does he want to ask Thomas Tuchel? But it is what it is. The next question, also the answer he gave is, no, I haven't been in touch. No. Wait, who? Can I guess who asked this question? I can bet that this question was asked by Simon Stone. Bro, I can bet that. Anyway, he said, no, I haven't been in touch with Thomas Tuchel. So yeah, listen for the boys. Carrick. Anyway, he says, listen for the boys. I'd love them to be picked. I'd love to see them picked. for this one and obviously picked for the summer, I don't have any influence on that. Exactly. But certainly the boys, the way they're playing, I think they've put themselves in the right conversation and in the right picture and giving themselves a chance, you know. So we'll see. I literally don't know any more than you on that one. Exactly. This guy just asks questions that don't make sense. But the boys, they're definitely playing well enough to warrant a place for sure. It's just, it's not my decision. So we'll wait and see. You know these things, but you still ask the question. I don't know. Are you expecting him to have spoken to Thomas Tuchel and he said, oh yeah, I've spoken to Thomas Tuchel and we agreed that you can call up Luke. Are you serious? You can call up Luke Shaw or something. These guys are jokers, man. Then next question is, Mike, I realize this predates you, but the teams won 2 out of 7 away games, and obviously you lost at Newcastle the last time, but you got a late goal to get an equalizer at West Ham. Is the away form going to be the key to getting into the Champions League? Into this Champions League away form. Yeah, I didn't think about that. The away form has been atrocious this last couple of games, though. Well, anyway, it says 2. You lost to Newcastle, and it says 2. You've won 2 out of 7 away games. Okay, predates you. But my Carrick has been here, and he has overseen some away games as well, including the West Ham game, right? So, well, it says it's just form and results, whether it's home or away. It's not something we look at too much. I think this next game, really, and of course, we had. I think it's the next game, really, and of course, we've had some good results at home. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's fixed, and we can move on to something else. You know, it's always the next game, and it's been nice to be able to win at home and put that in place. You know, and go and play at Old Trafford, and a real feeling of confidence and looking forward to the game, and for the supporters to feel that as well and living with a good feeling. So there's certainly the element of that, but we're not going with a major difference in preparation or mindset or anything. I think it's just the next game. And as I just said, I think we know it's a tough place to go anyway. So it's always been, but we are not really separating one game from the next. It's just one game at a time. Very good, straightforward answer from Michael Carrick. No big deal, no long thing. Just ask, answer. And says it's just one game at a time. There's no need to play around with words and all of that. Then the next question, obviously, this sounds like just looking at it, sounds like a good question with regards to the people that the teams that are around Man United and vying for that top 4 spot. So the question was, Liverpool and Chelsea are playing like loads of games over this next period. After Friday, you don't play until 3 weeks on the Monday. How does that work in terms of what the players who are not away on internationals do when they come back? Because not away on internationals do when they come back, because it just feels almost like a preseason. Yeah, this is a good question. Okay, so what happens with the players when they're not playing so many games? And it could work both ways for me. I feel like it could work both ways based on the fact that players not playing so many games could mean they get rusty. Players not playing so many games could mean they also are ready to play. And it could also mean that they are kind of like, well rested ahead of the game. Yeah, sorry, I just lost my train of thought at the moment. But then Michael Carrick says, there's no getting away from it. I think the next couple of weeks is a real mix for the group. We're not sure. Obviously, talking about the England boys, there are not sure exactly what kind of numbers we will have, but we probably won't have many. Yeah, I think most of them will be away. So that means they'll be training and playing games for the most part. So there's definitely that element, and just ends up becoming managing each individual for what they need. Some boys will play games. Some boys will play games. Maybe. Yeah. Some boys will play games and maybe need a little bit of maintaining the level. So yeah, he said some boys maybe haven't played a lot of games, need to a bit more training. Mason's coming back, so there's different situations, and you've got to be really flexible and to come off the back of it in good shape. And the boys will have a break in some way, but we're definitely mindful of it for sure. And it's a little bit unique in some ways, having the week after the internationals to prepare for the next game. Normally it's a rush to get everyone back as quick as possible and get on with things quickly, but we've got a little bit more time this time. And the next question was, we spoke to you about Bruno Fernandes after the game the other day, but there's been a lot of discussion since about his performances and his form. If you were a player and able to vote, would he get your vote for Player of the Year? So to track back to the previous question, 24 days is a whole lot of time. It's a long time to actually prepare for a game, right? 24 whole days is a long time, and it will not be nice to basically just jump, what would I say, maybe to just kind of be without a game for a long time. It's really tough, but it is what it is. Now, with regards to Bruno being Player of the Year, he says, I think he's had a fantastic season. Yeah, he says, I'd have to say it's not too much about who I would vote for, but I'm delighted that he's playing the way he is and having the impact that he is for us, and he's proving to be right up there in those conversations. I'd love to see him take the award, and it says a lot about what's coming or what's going on at this club and how the team's playing, as well as how well Bruno's playing. So we'll have to see how that pans out, but really pleased with everything that he's doing at the moment. And the truth is, arguments have gone on social media. Just before we wrap up with the last question, arguments have gone on social media with regards to whether Bruno deserves the Player of the Year and all of that, but the numbers speak for themselves. You don't need to talk too much about his output, because you hear people's arguments, and the argument they bring forward is the fact that Bruno has played only the Premier League and other players are playing in other competitions, therefore they deserve the Player of the Year. But the Player of the Year is not the Player of the Year for all other competitions. It's the Player of the Year for Premier League. If the other players are playing in other competitions, they should be vying for the Player of the Year for those competitions. But in the Premier League, it's the Premier League. Whether you're playing in 10 competitions or playing in one competition, it's still the Premier League. If you put up good numbers, that's fine. The numbers show that you deserve it. So it doesn't matter whether you're playing in 4 competitions or, because that argument is actually flawed, right? So yeah. So the next question with regards to that, and obviously the argument comes from Arsenal fans, just so you know, right? So the next question comes from the standpoint of Bruno as well, Sir Alex Ferguson rather. He says, the fact that we're talking about him, a successful team, it does feel unusually quiet and calm around here. Is this what it was like during your playing days when you were successful under Sir Alex Ferguson? What does this question mean, bro? What does this question mean? What does this question mean? Are you expecting the place to be noisy? I'm confused. Anyway, the response is, I think it just depends on what kind of phase you're going through and what it feels like. Really, the momentum, and sometimes it needs to become a bit, and to become a bit stable, a little bit touchy, and sometimes that brings out the best of you as well. But it's largely been calm in some ways, but actually not calm in the emotion of it, in the feeling of wanting to improve. And the boys, the way they are training, and obviously the way they've played, you can't be too calm all the time. But I think trying to be measured and calculated, so making good decisions for me and the staff, and obviously for the players as well, I think it's getting the balance right. Now, the question and the answers don't match, and I will tell you why. The reason why it's been calm is because Man United have not been involved in a lot of competitions, so there's not much going on. But if Man United were involved in a lot of competitions, then you can talk about the calmness, you could talk about dealing with the calmness. You could talk about dealing with the noise and all of that. But the question is pointless. The question doesn't relate to the game, right? But like I said, Basically, it's unrelated. How can you be asking something like you say, the fact that we're talking about him, a successful team, it does feel unusually quiet and calm around here. Yes, we're not in competitions. We're supposed to be in the Champions League. We're supposed to be preparing for the Carabao Cup. We're supposed to be preparing for the FA Cup. Nothing is happening. This time last year, we're in the Europa League. So nothing is happening, just the Premier League. So how can he be calm? How can he not be calm? Well, Michael Carrick just kind of ended it and says just getting the balance right. That's what's most important. So it is what it is. We've run through the press conference. I don't know if there's going to be part 2, but thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Follow us on all our social media platforms at United Talksport, and we give you all the short clips and videos and all that. And you're going to see clips of the press conference on those platforms. Let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.